Are we truly free, or have we simply grown accustomed to the gilded bars of a cage we call freedom, a cage meticulously crafted from societal expectations, inherited beliefs, and the comforting lull of conformity? We repeat phrases, champion causes, and defend ideologies, often without ever truly questioning their origin, their purpose, or their impact on our own souls. Friedrich Nietzsche, with his piercing gaze into the abyss of human nature, understood this insidious trap. He spoke of master-slave morality, a framework where the values of the powerful become the accepted norms, shaping the very thoughts and desires of those who are perhaps unwittingly enslaved by them. Are we, in our pursuit of belonging and acceptance, merely echoing the voices of masters long gone? Have we relinquished the arduous yet ultimately liberating task of forging our own values? Carl Jung, another explorer of the labyrinthine depths of the human psyche, would point to the shadow. The shadow of intellectual freedom is the fear of isolation, the terror of standing alone against the tide of popular opinion. It is the anxiety that whispers doubts when we dare to question, the insecurity that urges us to conform rather than risk being ostracized. Are you willing to confront this intellectual shadow, to delve into the uncomfortable truths that lie hidden within its depths? The shackles of conventional thought are not always visible. They are woven into the fabric of our education, our culture, and our relationships. They are the unspoken assumptions that guide our decisions, the unchallenged beliefs that shape our perceptions. But these chains, however subtle, can imprison the mind, stifling creativity, hindering self-discovery, and ultimately preventing us from realizing our full potential. This video is an invitation, a challenge, and a promise. An invitation to question everything, a challenge to confront your own intellectual complacency, and a promise to equip you with the tools you need to dismantle these mental chains and cultivate genuine intellectual independence. We will explore 5 powerful Nietzschean insights, each a hammer blow against the walls of the conventional, insights that will not only shatter your illusions, but also empower you to build a new foundation of thought, a foundation grounded in truth, authenticity, and the unyielding will to self-overcoming. Are you ready to begin? The journey towards intellectual freedom begins with recognizing the weight we carry. Nietzsche, in his profound work Asterisk, Thus Spoke Zarathustra Asterisk, speaks of the 3 metamorphoses of the spirit, the camel, the lion, and the child. The first stage, the camel, represents the spirit that willingly bears the burdens imposed upon it by society. It kneels down, laden with the thou shalts of conventional morality, societal expectations, and inherited beliefs. What are the burdens you are carrying? What thou shalts weigh heaviest upon your soul? The psychological impact of this enforced conformity is profound. When we suppress dissenting thoughts, when we silence our inner voice in favor of the accepted narrative, resentment festers, intellectual curiosity withers, our sense of self becomes fractured, a patchwork of borrowed opinions and unexamined assumptions. We become mere echoes in a chorus of conformity, losing sight of our own unique melody. Consider the educational system, often touted as a bastion of enlightenment. How often does it reward rote memorization over critical thinking? How often does it prioritize conformity over creativity? The media, too, plays its part, shaping our perceptions with carefully curated narratives, reinforcing existing biases and silencing dissenting voices. Even cultural norms, those seemingly innocuous traditions and customs, can perpetuate intellectual conformity, dictating what is acceptable, what is desirable, and what is to be shunned. Can you identify a specific instance where conventional wisdom stifled your own critical thinking? To shed the camel's burden, we must engage in a radical reevaluation of values. Take a deeply held belief, something you have always accepted as truth, and subject it to rigorous scrutiny. Where did it originate? What purpose does it serve? Is it truly yours, or is it merely an inheritance from your parents, your culture, or your peers? appears. Question its validity, challenge its assumptions, and dare to consider alternative perspectives. Nietzsche reminds us that there are no facts, only interpretations. Embrace perspectivism, the understanding that truth is not a fixed entity, but rather a product of our individual perspectives. Challenge the perceived truth of conventional wisdom. Recognize its inherent biases and dare to forge your own understanding of the world. Only then can you begin to shed the camel's burden and embark on the path towards genuine intellectual freedom. To truly liberate our minds, we must venture beyond the well-worn paths of conventional morality. Nietzsche, in Beyond Good and Evil challenges the very foundations of traditional morality, arguing that good and evil are not objective truths, but rather social constructs designed to maintain existing power structures. How does this relate to intellectual freedom? If our thoughts and beliefs are constrained by a rigid moral framework, can we truly claim to be free thinkers? The danger of moral dogma lies in its inherent inflexibility. Blind adherence to moral codes inhibits critical thinking, preventing us from exploring alternative perspectives and questioning the very assumptions upon which these codes are based. When we accept moral pronouncements without critical examination, we relinquish our intellectual autonomy and become slaves to a predetermined set of values. We often assume that moral consensus equals intellectual truth. If the majority believes something is right, we tend to accept it as fact without questioning its validity. However, the herd instinct, as Nietzsche called it, can lead to intellectual stagnation and the suppression of dissenting voices. Throughout history, countless individuals have been persecuted for challenging the moral orthodoxies of their time, only to be vindicated by future generations. To break free from the shackles of moral dogma, we must engage in ethical thought experiments. Confront a moral dilemma, a situation where there is no clear-cut, right or wrong answer, and analyze it from multiple perspectives. Challenge your preconceived notions, question your assumptions, and dare to consider the possibility that your moral compass may be pointing in the wrong direction. Imagine the marketplace of ideas, a vibrant and dynamic forum where diverse perspectives compete, clash, and ultimately contribute to a more nuanced understanding of the world. Intellectual freedom thrives in this environment where moral orthodoxies are constantly challenged, debated, and re-evaluated. By deconstructing moral absolutes, we create the space for intellectual clarity, allowing us to think for ourselves and arrive at our own authentic understanding of truth. The will to power, a concept often misunderstood and misinterpreted, is not simply about aggression or domination. It is, in its essence, the fundamental drive to expand one's capabilities, to exert influence in the world, and to strive for self-overcoming. It is the inherent force that propels us to grow, to learn, and to become more than we currently are. Applying the will to power to intellectual freedom means cultivating a relentless pursuit of knowledge, embracing independent thought, and constantly striving to overcome our own intellectual limitations. It means refusing to settle for easy answers, challenging conventional wisdom, and daring to explore the uncharted territories of the mind. It is not about dominating others with our intellect, but about mastering ourselves and our own understanding of the world. Several mental factors can sabotage our pursuit of intellectual mastery. The fear of failure, the intellectual laziness that prefers the comfort of conformity, and the inertia that resists the discomfort of challenging our own beliefs. To overcome these barriers, we must cultivate a mindset of intellectual courage, embracing the struggle and celebrating even the smallest increments of intellectual growth. Engage in what we might call the intellectual challenge. Set a goal to master a complex subject, something that truly stretches your intellectual capabilities. Embrace the frustration, the setbacks, and the moments of doubt. Recognize that these challenges are not obstacles, but rather opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and use each success as fuel for further further exploration. Nietzsche wisely stated, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." Embrace intellectual challenges as opportunities for self-overcoming and intellectual liberation. View each obstacle as a chance to hone your skills, expand your knowledge, and deepen your understanding. By harnessing the will to power in our intellectual pursuits, we can unlock our full potential and achieve genuine intellectual freedom. Amor fati, the love of fate, is not a passive acceptance of whatever life throws our way. It is an active embrace of all aspects of our existence, including the intellectual challenges, the inevitable setbacks, and the often uncomfortable sting of criticism. It is a recognition that even the most difficult experiences can be transformed into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Amor fati fosters intellectual resilience by transforming our relationship with criticism. When we accept criticism not as a personal attack, but as a potential source of valuable feedback, we become impervious to the fear of judgment. We can then approach intellectual challenges with a sense of curiosity and openness rather than defensiveness and fear. Consider the story of the scientist who dared to challenge established theories, facing ridicule and ostracism from the scientific community, yet driven by amor fati and an unyielding commitment to truth. This individual persevered, ultimately revolutionizing our understanding of the world. This scientist embraced the challenges, the setbacks, and the criticism as integral parts of the journey, transforming them into fuel for further exploration. Engage in the reframe criticism exercise. When faced with negative feedback, resist the urge to become defensive or dismissive. Instead, analyze the criticism objectively, identifying specific points that can be used to improve your intellectual capabilities. Transform negative feedback into actionable steps, using it as a catalyst for further growth and self-overcoming. Imagine the sculptor who embraces the flaws in the stone, transforming them into a unique and beautiful work of art. Embrace your intellectual flaws, your weaknesses, and your shortcomings. Recognize that these imperfections are not limitations, but rather opportunities for creative transformation. By embracing amor fati, we can find intellectual liberation in the face of uncertainty and criticism, transforming our challenges into sources of strength and resilience. The Bermensch, often translated as overman, is not a physically superior being, but rather a symbolic representation of a self-overcoming individual who transcends conventional limitations. It is an ideal, a goal towards which we strive, a constant reminder that we are capable of becoming more than we currently are. Applying the Bermensch ideal to intellectual freedom means constantly striving to expand your knowledge, challenging your beliefs, and cultivating intellectual independence. It means refusing to be defined by external expectations, forging your own path, and becoming the author of your own intellectual destiny. It is a lifelong journey of self-discovery, growth, and relentless self-overcoming. Society often distorts the image of the intellectual Bermensch, portraying them as arrogant, detached, or elitist. However, the true intellectual Bermensch is not driven by a desire for superiority, but by a deep commitment to truth and a relentless pursuit of self-improvement. They are not afraid to challenge conventional wisdom, to question established norms, or to stand alone in their pursuit of knowledge. Develop a continuous learning plan. Commit to lifelong learning, seeking out new knowledge, challenging your existing beliefs, and constantly pushing the boundaries of your intellectual capabilities. Read widely, engage in thoughtful discussions, and never be afraid to question everything. Embrace the discomfort of intellectual growth, recognizing that it is through these challenges that we become stronger, wiser, and more intellectually free. Nietzsche wrote, "Man is a rope tied between beast and overman, a rope over an abyss." Embrace the challenge of self-overcoming and strive to become an intellectual Bermensch. Recognize that the path is not easy, but the rewards are immeasurable. By constantly pushing ourselves beyond our limitations, we can unlock our full full potential and achieve genuine intellectual liberation. We have explored 5 powerful Nietzschean insights, each a vital step on the path to intellectual freedom: the reevaluation of values, the deconstruction of morality, the harnessing of the will to power, the embrace of amor fati, and the striving towards the Bermensch ideal. These are not mere concepts to be understood, but tools to be wielded, principles to be embodied in your own life. Remember, intellectual freedom is not a destination, a final state of enlightenment to be achieved. It is a continuous process, a lifelong journey of self-overcoming and critical thinking. It requires constant vigilance, a willingness to question everything, including your own beliefs, and the courage to stand alone against the tide of conventional wisdom. Nietzsche's concept of eternal recurrence challenges us to consider the choices we make, the paths we choose to follow. Imagine that you were condemned to repeat your life exactly as it has been for all eternity. Would you choose to repeat your intellectual journey, embracing all its challenges, its setbacks, and its triumphs? Would you be content with the thoughts you have thought, the beliefs you have held, and the intellectual choices you have made? The pursuit of intellectual freedom is not an easy one. It demands courage, discipline, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, but the rewards are immeasurable. A mind liberated from the shackles of conventional thought is a mind capable of creativity, innovation, and profound self-discovery. It is a mind capable of shaping its own destiny, of forging its own path, and of making a meaningful contribution to the world. Now, I challenge you to apply these insights in your own life. Question your assumptions, challenge your beliefs, and dare to think for yourself. Share your experiences in the comments below. Let us learn from each other and continue this intellectual exploration together. And if you are ready to delve deeper into the world of Nietzschean philosophy and radical self-mastery, subscribe to this channel for more content that will challenge your assumptions, expand your mind, and empower you to become the author of your own life. What intellectual burdens will you shed today?